Okay, it's 6 o'clock, so we'll have Jesse come on in and we'll start the meeting tonight for the South Whitley Community Public Library Board of Trustees meeting. And we can look over our minutes from our last meeting in May 8th, and if there's any additions or corrections, please bring them up. Okay. All right, do I have a motion to accept the meetings of the South Whitley Community Public Library of May 8th, 2025?
Make a motion to accept the meeting as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, we have a second. A motion and a second to accept our board meeting minutes approval from May 8th, 2025. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. And opposed? Okay. This will take us on to our treasurer's report from Chris.
We're 5 months through 2025. First report here is the financial report. At the start of the year, we're at 1.6 million. We received the tax, property tax.
Yes, we received property tax and supplemental lit. It's just not on here. It was
In June.
I believe it was right after June, or else it would come up on here.
Even the property tax one?
I believe so. Or else it should be on here.
Well, receipts year to date is 212.
Yeah, but the property tax receipt that we got was $340,000.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyways, as you can see, we're down to 1.46 million compared to this same time last year, 1.26 million. Gift fund sits at 9,000 compared to this time last year, 10,000. Rainy days got the transfer from last year sitting in there, so it's up to 341,000. But all compared to total, with the rest of them being clearing accounts, we're at 1.8 million compared to 1.5 million the year before. The appropriation report, being 5 months through 2025, we want to see all the percents remaining on the right side being above 58.33%. There in personnel services, we'll have some resolutions there at the end of the year. With the budget from 24 being passed in 25, we'll still have to do some transfers. So there's FICA and unemployment a little below the 58.3%, but in personnel services, it's a little under 3% above budget. Supplies, all those accounts are in range, so we're 15% above budget there. Other services and charges. See, gas sits at 54.3, but we're in the summertime, so hopefully that'll normalize throughout the year. And then the only other one would be publicity and marketing, and we'll do a transfer later in the year to rectify that account. But all in all, in category 3, we're do the math there, about 14% above budget. And then capital outlays, we're at 78.2%. But from a grand total, 66.1 compared to where the budget would have us at 58.3. Minus some transfers that we'll do at the end of the year, everything's looking on track.
Any questions from anyone? Okay, I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Okay, I have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to accept our treasurer's report as read. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we'll circulate the claims, and Cody will go on with our director's report.
So for programs and collections, we had 18 for the showing of the Wild Robot. We had a lot more kids for that one than we usually do, so that was pretty nice. The next showing will be on June 20th. It's going to be the anniversary of the showing of the classic Jaws. It's the 50th anniversary. Regular movie showing going to be June 27th. and it's going to be Twisters, the one from last year, not the one from tonight.
You sure on that, John? It's 50 years?
Yeah. 75.
I don't remember that. Yeah.
I know, I
Yeah.
don't.
We had, yeah, we had a whole discussion about that one. We had 2 attendees for the May card game night. We're taking a hiatus until September for all of the game nights. We had 4 for the May 13th game night. 18 people came to the Celtic music concert from Whitley Thompson on May 12th. May 20th, we had the showing of Free for All, the library documentary. That went well. We had 7 people come to that and participate in the Q&A. That is more than the showing at Allen County Public Library that Darrell Schrapp went to, so I'm kind of proud of that. May 24th, we had a Bigfoot program with Mike Famelont. We had 26 there. That went well, and the information that was presented was a little different than the one that we had last year, so it was a good dichotomy.
That's the one you had been to in the past, right?
Yes, yeah.
How'd that go?
We had 20 come for the Elson Peter Marionettes performance of The Wizard of Oz. This is the last time we're going to be able to have them because they are closing down. Our summer reading kickoff went really well, except for a few hiccups leading up to it. The actual kickoff went smoothly. The taco truck that we had planned to come was not able to because they had to attend a funeral. And the hamper for the High Striker game was not delivered with the game because they did not realize that they had lost it since last fall. So they took that back, and we did not have those. But we were able to pivot. We served hot dogs to the public, and we brought out a few more of our yard games from our library things collection. We ended up having 111, which is the largest program that Jen Enkel says that she has done, so that was really good. And we have had decent attendance during her programs during this week as well.
Having it outside, I thought, and closing down Maple was a good idea.
I think it worked really well.
Yeah, you had more space and everything, so.
We had 7 attendees for the virtual safari program hosted June 11th. We will be having Amelia Bedelia here on June 18th. The 25th, we will be having an intro to DNA program from our genealogy department. June 26th, we will be hosting another concert from the Bulldogs this year. That's traditionally been fairly well attended. July 9th, we're looking at hosting the Manchester Civic Band for a patriotic concert. Summer reading has started. Our theme is Level Up at Your Library. We're running the program similar to how we ran it for winter reading using Beanstack and that sort of thing. With the children's, teens, and adult program, there are weekly prizes for completing certain amounts of reading, the larger prize won by a drawing. We have a scoreboard upstairs to track the minutes for each age category to see which one is able to beat the others. So if you have a little bit of competition, try to beat the kids. Additionally, we have programming and activities that Jen Angel was doing with the children's on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And we have a scavenger hunt for the Ghosts and Pac-Man from the classic video game that we 3D printed upstairs. Kids seem to be enjoying that one. We have grown the library thanks to include over 150 items at this point. Staff and library development, Jeff from SRKM will be coming to the library on Tuesday to confirm the number of Ethernet ports for the cost estimate for the relocation of the server. The ILF annual conference has opened up early registration. It is November 9th through the 11th. That's a Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I'm planning on attending and opening it up to a couple of staff, and if anybody on the board is interested in going, please just let me know. There is going to be a staff development day at Peabody Public Library on September 12th, which is sponsored by LSC. That's the directors group that we're part of. I'm thinking of sending 4 to 5 staff to that as well. Outreach and community involvement. I'm going to be meeting with a core group of people interested in forming a Friends of the Library group tomorrow. We're going to be discussing the roles that a Friends group could serve here and also taking a look at some example bylaws for the organization. The America 250 kickoff is on Saturday. That committee is going to have a table with a reenactor at the farmer's market in Columbia City. Jen is going to be there and have a craft, and we're going to have a couple other staff there as well to help assist manning that. The Heart Corps, a part of the Whitley County Health Department and AmeriCorps, will be setting up a blood pressure monitoring station here at the library. It's going to be a smaller monitor, not like a larger station. So it's not going to take up too terribly much space, but hopefully it'll help raise awareness for heart disease in the community. We're looking at partnering with the elementary school to cycle through all of the students in a multi-session program like we did last year. We're thinking that'll happen in September again. Vicki Fleischauer and I went to the Community Foundation to take part in a meeting for a potential new initiative called the Whitley County Mental Health Coalition. They're wanting to get 20 to 30 organizations together to take part in several subcommittees to focus on different aspects of mental health and how it can be improved for the county. Somebody from the DeKalb County Community Foundation was there to discuss efforts that they've made in DeKalb County. My only concern is the time commitment that it might be, because they seemed like the committees would be very active with doing stuff. So I'm just concerned about the time commitment, so I'm just kind of waiting and seeing what else comes from them at this point. If nothing else, I want to position us to be able to work with those committees in our area, even if we're not a part of a committee, if that makes sense. We're looking at working with Darcy Gardner, the Whitley County Health Nurse, to host a CPR training program here at the library. Jen is going to be doing activities with Kids Connect program through One Community here in South Whitley. And she has also started going to Kids Connect programs in Kirsten and Marwell that have just started this year. She was also able to get a story time program at the Hitching Post in Marwell as well. Building and maintenance, I asked Blue Sky, who does our cleaning, if there was going to be a rate change for the foreseeable future. They said there was not, so that's good news. We had Mike Balzer, who is part of Blue Sky as well. They also do some minor maintenance repairs and stuff for us. He did some minor repairs around the facility, such as he's looking at replacing a couple of lights and fixing a soap dispenser, just that sort of thing. Fire door on the front of the building, the one just up here at the top of those staircases. It's looking at potentially needing replaced because of some rust issues. So he's going to quote us for that because it's going to need to replace the entire frame because of how those doors are designed. The elevator stopped working for a few days, and I had asked Mike to come take a look at it because they've done that before. They kind of cycle the power, reset it, because we did have a little bit of a power fluctuation at one point. He came to look at it, and it was the same day that Coney came to do our regular inspections. They looked at it together, it got reset, and Coney was saying that we also needed to replace a battery, just that's a regular maintenance issue there. And it is back up and running. Technology, the 3 new public computers that we have ordered are on back order, so they should be coming in July. Hopefully it doesn't get pushed further. Windows 10 is no longer going to be supported at the end of the year. I met with ABC to do a tech review for us. We still have a lot of machines that do run Windows 10. So they are looking at which ones would be capable of being upgraded to Windows 11 and which ones we might need to replace. So we might be buying a fair number of computers at some point this year. I was already planning on replacing 2 to 3 staff computers this year as well, so we might just end up doing a few more.
Did we already buy 8 new ones?
Public computers? We got 5 last year. And then
Last year?
Yeah, last year, and then 3 this year. And that will replace all of the ones that were there. Our website needs to be made ADA compliant by 27. I need to check with Jack Flick to see if he's capable of working with us on that. If not, we may have to look at a different company to host our website or build a new website or something along those lines. In the financial cap.
What needs to be ADA compliant, what's
Um,
what do they need?
We ran it through a quick scan. A lot of it's like color issues. So colors have to be so many shades apart. Pictures have to have descriptive text. You don't want PDF on your website because it doesn't work with screen readers. So people with vision impairment who use screen readers wouldn't be able to do that. So it's just a few things like that.
Okay.
But there's a lot of it on each page. It's just small things, but there's a lot of the small things. Financial, we're looking at having a board finance committee on July 2nd to go over some budget recommendations from Jennifer and I. And we did receive the first portion of our property tax levy and the supplemental lit payment. The supplemental payment was $54,000 a bit. And that is additional money and not something that can be counted on every year. That's just if they have money in that fund, they send it out to 2 places.
And that's our director's report. Do we have any old business anyone wants to go over? All right, Cody, do you want to take us through the new business?
So we have a couple of policy changes. They're generally pretty minor stuff. So starting with the library of things, Currently, in the liability of fees section, it is all kitchen items must be returned washed, and if they're not, there's a $10 fee. We've had a couple issues with tool items coming back fairly dirty, so we're just wanting to change that to all items must be returned cleaned by the patron. If the item is not clean, there will be a $10 cleaning fee charged to the patron's account.
They have to physically drop that off.
Yeah. So there's that one. A change to the meeting room policy is behind that. It's on the second page of that policy. We've had a couple of people pay meeting room reservation fees with credit card, which we do get a fee for that, and for $50, it's about $1.63, I would say, for the fee. But then when we refund them the whole $50, so we're just kind of out that couple bucks. So I would like to change that to just say we either only take cash or check, or that when we refund the fee, that any fees for using the credit card would not be refunded. So they'd get $48.35 or something like that back instead of full $50.
It currently says nothing about it, though.
It currently says nothing about it, though.
A lot of businesses are doing that now.
Yeah.
How many people pay with card compared to cash or check? You know, like,
We've had a pretty big uptick in just meeting room usage this year in general, and I'd say probably close to half have done card.
And that's just to reserve the room.
That's just
And then they get
yeah.
it back if there's no damage.
Yeah, as long as there's not like a hole in the wall or massive stains on the carpet or something, they get that back. And there's no fee to refund via Square. It's because we use Square for credit card payments. There's no fee to refund. It's just a fee to actually take it. But then when we refund it, we don't get that fee money back. If that makes sense.
Would it be more complicated to just add the fee to the payment?
that's what I'm thinking. They get like a $52 fee to reserve the room and they give you 50 back.
I thought about that. I didn't know if we'd want to go that route or one of these. So I kind of preferred either just not refunding them the total amount or just not taking the card as opposed to charging a little bit more for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do 51.63 is the charge, and then we only give them, or we charge them 52, so you don't want to round up because it's not, they didn't use that other 27
Yeah.
cents. We have that bank, we just keep the cost on it,
Yeah.
so.
And we can keep doing that too. It was just my suggestion to handle it. Because we've seen a lot more meeting room usage this year, which I think is really good.
Also, don't some things get paid more consistently if they're using cards than if they're using cash or check?
I don't know.
I think it may
We've not
have
had an issue like with checks bouncing or anything.
been, it may have
Not
been
well.
that way when we used to do a late fee like
Okay. Yeah. Social media policy. So I was watching the webinar on some of these. So I just figured adding a couple of things onto that would be beneficial. The one sentence at the end of the paragraph basically says, we don't own the social media platform, so if they take stuff down, that's not our fault. Because we're technically not really supposed to take too much stuff down because it's a public forum. And then I added to inappropriate behaviors, soliciting, so we're not going to, hopefully we don't get spammed with things trying to get money from people, or inciting violence against library staff, the library staff, or other users, or anything like that. Which I don't anticipate anything like that ever happening, but it was just saying it was a smart thing to have on there. And then our personnel policy. On the second page, the work paid time category, I made a couple changes to that I would like to put through. Currently, if staff travels to something and then they stay overnight, travel time is not included in working time, whereas if they did not stay overnight, it would be. And that we really cap the hours and travel at 8 hours, which is kind of unrealistic for a working day, because a lot of times, like if we're going down to India or something, it'll be technically like a 10 to 12 hour day. So I just changed that a little bit so that drive time, even if you stay overnight, would count as working time. And then just remove that 8 hour max. It's, I don't know, if you're working 10 hours, I think it should be 10 hours. Any comments, concerns about those?
So they get paid for drive time, but that they don't get reimbursed for gas?
No, they do.
They get that
Yeah.
on top of that?
Yeah, it's if you're going to something that then you stay overnight, so like annual conference, you go the 2 days, going down to Indy, drive time doesn't count as work time. But if you came back that same day, drive time would count as work time.
Okay.
So it just makes it a little more consistent there.
And then they get mileage besides that?
And then they do get mileage beside that.
And we'll need a motion to accept these changes
Yeah, for each one. Yeah.
for each one.
Mhm.
We,
So the motion for library things, meeting room policy, social media policy, and then the staff education and travel policy.
we can't do one for all for one.
We probably could for these three, but the staff and education policy is in personnel policy as opposed to policy.
Okay.
So
So
Well,
once
it's in two different
The
documents.
meeting room has two different options, so we have to agree on which one we are going to go with.
Yeah. So would we just want to do it all separately then?
Probably.
Just make it easier.
So our first one will be about the changes to the social media policy. Okay, that's the one I read. Do I have a motion to accept the changes to social media policy?
I make a motion to accept the changes to the social media policy.
Okay, we have a motion second. All right, we have a motion to second to accept the social media changes policy. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that one carries. And so then we'll go to staff and education about the work paid time for travel. Have a motion to accept that one.
I'll make the motion to accept that they get paid to travel to and
Okay.
from.
A second?
Also,
All right, have a motion to accept and second to accept the updated work paid time for travel. All in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll say, okay, so this would be then for adding the $10 cost for when they return the
Yeah.
items.
Mhm.
And if they're not clean, there'll be a $10 charge. Okay, all in favor by...
I'll make a motion.
Motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the library thing.
Second, all right, motion is second to accept the $10 charge for the clean items need to be returned. Okay, and then the other one's on the cost for the room, right?
Right. So that is the two options on it.
Does anyone have one they favor?
I feel like with the amount of money that we have, we could probably eat the cost
Okay,
personally.
I wouldn't be opposed to that either. I
We
mean,
could do that.
if it's
That's what I'd like to.
$1.63, I'm not worried about it.
okay.
Okay.
So
But I do want to, I think you should have something in there about the three options that they can pay. I
Okay.
think you should leave that, just take out the part about the non-refundable fees.
Okay.
I mean,
I'll bring that for next time then.
Okay,
at the bank, we just eat the cost, we don't. So, I mean, if you were charging, if they're reserving the room for 7 full days, then but it's still just a $50 charge, even if that would be a scenario. Or is it per day?
I think it's per day.
Okay, well, that probably rarely
But
never happens.
It's not
So,
happened. Not while I've been here.
I don't recall anybody having it for more than one day, so.
I would make a motion to approve the change that says fees and charges for meeting room use can be paid with cash, check, or card, and then just stop there.
I agree. I second.
okay. Motion is second, change. All in favor of saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's how we word that. Okay, our August meeting date?
Non-resident fee update.
Oh, non-resident fee update, sorry.
So when we do the annual report, it does give us, based off of per capita our expenditures, what our non-resident fee has to be. Currently, it is $136 is what we're charging. We need to charge a minimum of $138.21. So I have a resolution here to raise it to $139 just for rounding.
You have to charge $138.21.
We have to charge $138.21. That is the state mandated minimum.
And the resolution is to say charge $139.
Correct. Rounding up to the next dollar is a fairly common practice.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So it's a resolution, so we have to sign it, but then we also do have to have the verbal vote.
Do we have many of those?
We have a few.
Really?
If we weren't an evergreen library, I could see us having a lot more.
If we weren't what?
An evergreen library,
Oh.
so we're able to share cards essentially with like
Mhm.
Peabody, Kirsten and stuff. And if anybody's worried about ours being a little bit higher than the other libraries, we do encourage them to go get cards at the other libraries. The only difference is really access to digital resources, but they can get all the same books through evergreen that they can, so.
And if you do have one of them, the renewal is free, right? Or do you charge them again?
It's for 1 year.
Yeah, just like your taxes are paid.
Yeah.
every year.
Mhm. It's the non-resident fee, it's paid in lieu of the taxes to the library.
Okay, I'll sign this.
Yeah, we do need the
Yeah.
verbal vote too.
So all in favor for this resolution for non-residents fee to be rounded up to $139? All in favor of saying, or I need a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the non-resident fee update.
Okay, second?
Second.
All right, motion is second to accept it. All in favor of saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed, okay. All right, we have a new member with us, Joe.
August meeting date?
Oh, August? Gee whiz, I'm all over, I'm ready to get out of here. August meeting date.
You're just excited to meet this Joe Hoffman guy.
Yeah?
So as you know, looking to have kids sometime probably mid-August. I would like to move the August meeting date to August 7th. That should be good for us, and then we would be able to have a public hearing at that date as well, based off of when we're meeting with the DLGF and the time needed to advertise for the new budgets and tax rates and stuff. So we would be able to have the public hearing on August 7th as well.
So we're gonna meet as finance committee, whatever, on July,
We're looking at July
Second.
2nd. Yeah.
and then we'll talk about the budget in the July meeting,
Yeah, we can talk about it in the meeting with the board.
but then you'll have the public hearing in August. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
And then July 16th, I believe it's the 16th, is when I'm scheduled to meet with the DLGF to go through, make sure all everything's filled out all right. and accurate.
July 16th?
Yeah.
Can we just agree to that, or we need to have a?
Let's have a vote just to make sure.
All right, we'll move the meeting to August 7th for our meeting at 6 o'clock. Have a motion to accept that we move the meeting to the 7th?
I so moved.
Okay, second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to move our August board meeting to the 7th at 6 o'clock. All in favor of saying aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And you'll put that in email,
Yes.
because I'll probably be here on the 14th.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, Joe Hoffman, right?
Correct.
So I didn't know if you just wanted to introduce yourself
Yeah,
and then kind of
we're
begin
some-
asking questions, or?
Yeah, we're somewhat new residents to South Whitley. We've been here for, what, 3 years?
Altogether, yeah.
Yeah, 3 years together.
I grew up in South Whitley for the most part.
I'm from Cherubusco. We're lifelong Whitley County residents, but we moved here and we're loving it so far. And I work as a mental health counselor in Columbia City, so with my wife, we're both there.
So then Joe's first meeting would be the July meeting,
And Betsy's done?
and Betsy is done.
Huh.
She doesn't have to come back.
You can.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Look forward to seeing, working with you.
Okay.
He always liked it, see, I never did, I know. Did you go to Whitcomb?
No.
Okay. Well, you said you're from South Whitland.
I went to Columbia City,
Okay.
yeah.
What street, did you live in town?
No, we live on 205.
Oh, no, when you grew up in town.
I grew up on 205.
Oh, on 205, oh,
We
okay.
live right next door, actually, to where she grew up.
She didn't venture far.
Oh,
Okay.
We moved here when I was 13, my parents got divorced, and we lived with my grandma, and she lived out in Tunker. And then from Tunker, we moved onto 205. My
You're
mom-
not the folks in Vern Shoup's house, are you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Stephanie Ziola.
Okay. On
We're
205.
pretty close to the Cleveland substation.
Okay.
Out that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right, any miscellaneous for tonight? Any comments? All right, we'll adjourn for the night. Thank you.